Can you keep a secret? Because I have a confession. Welcome to the Events Make Sense podcast. I am Natisha Crockett. I am your friendly guide. This is the podcast for women business owners who want to host purposeful and profitable events because you can absolutely do both. This is a segment called Conversion Confessions, and it is just going to be a quick segment that I walk you through some real life things that have happened at events that I have hosted or have supported. And so for this first confession, this actually happened at one of the first events that I personally hosted. A little bit of background about me of like how I started at my entrepreneurial career is I actually started in the network marketing industry. And if you have been a part of this industry or you have ever gotten out of that industry, sometimes you can have like an identity crisis. Getting out or while you're in. For me, I had put, 5+ years of my life into this business. And when I had made the decision to leave the industry, it was very hard for me because I had put all my eggs in this basket. I didn't know who I was outside of promoting and growing that business. And so when I came out of the industry and really started to pursue, things that I'm good at and grow my own business off of my own personal brand, I struggled. I, shared in another episode, I had to completely build a new audience, one that was not attached to wanting to move forward with, the products and services that I was promoting for somebody else, but who truly needed my services, who needed my work, who had bought into me. And so on top of having to, speak to a brand new audience, I decided to host an event. I did not have an audience at this time. I hosted this event and was not speaking to anybody in particular, but was truly speaking to the individuals that I wanted to call into that room. And so I went in with the marketing, went in with the messaging, and really like locked in to make sure that there were people in the room that identified with where I was going and not where I had been. And so because everybody who had came to this event was a complete stranger, I had no idea what I was going to offer as far as like an offer, right? I am big on if you are going to host an event, you need to make sure that your event is leading your audience somewhere. What problem are you solving? And is your offer the natural next best step? And so I was a little backwards, right? I didn't know exactly who I was speaking to. With the messaging that I used, I was speaking to the woman that wanted more, right? Because I was of the mindset, this particular event, the vision that I had, or the reason that I had hosted the event, was because I truly believed that broken women built broken businesses. And so this was an event of kind of like healing, our mindset, our confidence, and, just creating that community. Because if we did all of those things, we were going to inevitably, I don't even know why I try to say that word because I mess it up all the time. But we were going to then build stronger businesses. And so at this event, it went great. It was a 2-day conference. And on day 2, I still had not thought of an offer. And what's really important to remember is to remember who is in the room. because the services that at that time that I was like, marketing and wanting to put to use was like personal branding, helping people show up online, confidently, things of that nature. And what I found was when the women were actually in the room and we were having conversations and I was able to hear their stories and we were going through, the different breakthroughs, moments of the event, I was like, that isn't where these individuals are. And so, y'all, on the last day of the conference, on day two, at lunchtime, everybody was eating. I went to go do an outfit change. And during this outfit change is when I created my offer. And so, what is so powerful about this is because I didn't just create this offer out of thin air. I created this offer specifically for the women who were in that room based on, my expertise and the things that, I actually help women with. And so I'm changing outfits, in the bathroom, me and my coach, we got my phone out on the notes app and we're literally just jotting things down. And I was I was to pitch this offer in like less than an hour. And so I'm like, crossing my T's and dotting my I's and making sure, it was a viable offer and making sure like, would this be in alignment with the women who were in, the room. And so I ended up pitching the offer and we closed over 50% of the room. And I just chuckle a little bit because one, that was crazy to not have an offer until you're about to pitch your offer. But number two, I do think it was powerful because I want you to remember, this is actually where some people miss the mark, if you will. If you already have an offer, you have to make sure that the offer that you have, the offer that is the natural next best step, you have to make sure that the people or the women in the room actually have the problem or are struggling with the issue that you solve. Too many times what's happening is you have your, cookie cutter boxed up offer and then you are not taking in consideration the real people that are in front of you, the real problems that they're having. What are they actually struggling with? Because it's going to differ. And so, the one thing that you can do to basically solve this issue is making sure that you are having your attendees fill out a intake form before they even get to your event. And I'll probably go deeper into intake forms at a later time, but basically all it is you collecting information about your audience. It is crucial because you have to know who is in the room. If you don't know who's in the room, you can't sell to the room. If you don't know who's in the room or what they're struggling with, you can't speak to their pain when you pitch. Because I knew who was in the room, because I was having genuine conversations with them, and we had six sister circles, and we were able to really kind of hone in on some of the insecurities and the fears that they were struggling with. I was able to utilize all of that and create something that they actually needed and actually wanted, right? Because so many times we'll have an offer, but we don't know if it's needed or wanted. And so really making sure that you take to the time to identify who's in the room is going to help you make sure that you have an offer that is going to speak to the audience. And so that's confession number one. I made an offer about 30 minutes before I actually pitched the offer. That event changed everything for me, though. That event really made me believe in events as a strategy to grow your business. That was the most amount of money I had made like in that short amount of time. And I was like, wow, this is, a win-win. here we are. I am providing these women with something that they need in this season of their life. And then in that same realm, I get to grow my business, right? And so it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Events are beautiful. And so again, that is confession number one. I want to thank you for being here with me on this journey. If you are an event host or if you know an event host, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.